Our new details on this assigning blame over the cyber attacks during the U.S. elections. A Russian official now blaming the Obama administration for undermining the democratic process. Now, this comes as Donald Trump is still reluctant to say that Russia was behind the hacks. Let's bring back Angela Rye and former Lieutenant Governor Betsy McCoy. And that's where I want to start with you, Lieutenant Governor, what Vice President-elect Mike Pence said after this intelligence briefing, describing what happened inside the room and what will happen moving forward. Let's listen.
It was, as the President-elect said, it was a constructive and respectful dialogue. And the President-elect has made it very clear that we're going to take aggressive action in the early days of our new administration to combat cyber attacks and protect the security of the American people from this type of intrusion in the future.
Aggressive action to combat cyber hacks and attacks in the future. Can you reconcile that for us with what we heard from the President-elect when he said, announcing this intelligence briefing, that it's time for the country to move on to bigger and better things? It seems to be an inconsistency there.
I don't see the inconsistency, Victor, and this is why. The Obama administration knew about this hacking of the DNC several months ago, way before the actual outcome of the presidential election, but only made it a big deal once Mrs. Clinton lost that election. President-elect Trump has said very clearly that he takes cybersecurity not only when it's a hacking of a political institution, but of course for an electrical grid or other aspects of American life even more seriously. But there's a difference between doing that and somehow falling into the trap thinking that this election was manipulated or changed by the Russians. The fact is, the Russians did not intrude into the political mechanics of the election. They only changed public opinion, perhaps, by revealing some of the dirty tricks at the DNC. And the fact is that in every election from 1796 on, foreign governments have watched the outcomes and in many cases leaked information about one candidate or another. The American people had a right to know what was going on behind closed doors at the DNC, Hillary Clinton getting the debate questions ahead of time, right. John Podesta's very negative
we
views
remember
of
the
Catholic
highlights.
voters.
I have a limited amount of time, but I want Angela to respond to what you just said.
So, Victor, is a thing that, old folks tell you sometimes is don't throw stones while living in a glass house. So Russians had access to the RNC despite Donald Trump's tweet and despite what you just heard from Betsy, but they didn't share that information. So we don't want to talk about dirty secrets because God only knows what the RNC has. What we do know is that Russians interfered with this election. We do know that Russians undermined our democracy. We do know that they did it it absolutely is true. I know it hurts, but it's real. And I think the reality of it is Vladimir Putin.
Hold on.
Betsy, you love to, anyway. Vladimir Putin specifically ordered this type of attack to undermine Hillary Clinton. This was to do everything he could to discredit her. So I think we have to be honest about what the facts say. We have to be honest about what the national intelligence agencies in this country say, and it's very clear. It sounds like Mike Pence has a different type of an agenda, one that puts our democracy over politics. And so it'll be interesting to see, as you brought up initially, how they reconcile that after all.
All right, Angela Rye, Lieutenant Governor Betsy McCoy, thank you both.
Thank you, Victor.